Let's take it to Maine for a little bit, as the state is making history with the first black Supreme Court justice. Justice Rick Lawrence was sworn in yesterday as the first black justice in more than 200 years. Lawrence, a graduate of Harvard Law School, spent 22 years as a district court judge. He was confirmed unanimously by the state Senate. He says one of his goals as a justice on the court will be to help convince more black lawyers to practice in the state.
Today, Vice President Kamala Harris is hosting a White House meeting with organizers from unions representing Amazon and Starbucks. The meeting is to discuss the efforts to organize unions in their workplaces and how their efforts can inspire workers across the country to make the choice to join or organize a union. The Amazon labor union secured a historic victory last month when the Staten Island facility became the first Amazon location in the U.S. to unionize. President Biden has positioned his administration as one of the most pro-labor in decades, appointing aggressive enforcers and pushing for legislation to make joining a union easier.
And some people may have to soon start paying to use Twitter. Elon Musk says the social media site may charge a slight fee for commercial and government users, but he did not say how much that fee would be. He did say that Twitter will always be free for casual users. Now, Twitter is already experimenting with a paid-for subscription service called Twitter Blue in the U.S., Canada, and a few other countries. Elon purchased Twitter last month in a $44 billion deal.
An entrepreneur is teaching black women how to boss up at work. Meet the entrepreneur teaching black women how to become bosses in the boardroom. Her name is Jaboria Scott. She's a leadership coach, and she says that she wants to teach black women how to show up as leaders. Scott is the founder of Drive-By Conversations. It's a platform that provides leadership training to new and emerging black female leaders. Scott says unequal opportunity as well as sexism have kept women from climbing to the top of the corporate ladder. She hopes to change that with her new book, How to Get Promoted Fast. She says it will take the guesswork out of leadership, and according to a recent study, women hold only 31% of senior management roles.
The New Orleans, or I like to say Nolans, Jazz and Heritage Festival is returning to New Orleans after a 3-year hiatus. The festival was canceled due to COVID. Organizers say if you had tickets during COVID, you can roll them over and use them for this year's festival. The event draws tens of thousands to the city. Headliners for the event include Lionel Richie, Erykah Badu, Ludacris, and Nelly. The festival runs from today through Sunday, May 8th. There are as many as 80 musical acts performing daily on more than a dozen stages.
And Team Henry Enterprises, a construction company that has taken down more than 20 Confederate monuments over the last 2 years. But he says the job may not be as simple as you think. Devon Henry says he and his team have faced considerable risk while taking down statues, including the Robert E. Lee statue in Virginia. Random people passing by have repeatedly threatened Henry and his staff. He says it's happened so much that he now carries a gun and wears bulletproof vests on the job. Henry has removed 23 Confederate monuments, and his company has been awarded more than $1 million in federal contracts. The Black Lives Matter movement brought attention to the racist symbolisms of the Confederate statues across the South. Because of that, more than 400 Confederate monuments have been relocated to museums, removed, or renamed.
This is awesome.
It's awesome, yeah. But imagine having to wear a bulletproof vest and carry a gun just to do your job.
It does sound very scary. You know, he said that he started counting the amount of racial slurs that he's gotten. He says it's up to more than 72. But the great thing is, it's a black man doing this, getting these Confederate monuments down. But also, he says that his daughter looks at him as his hero. So there is some light at the end of the tunnel with this story.
I agree. And there's a phrase that as you try to erase the hate, more hate comes your way. So I do applaud him for taking on this responsibility, and we pray that he remains safe. But he's doing the right thing. He's doing it because this time that this country turns that corner and realizes that some of that history does not should be celebrated or put up on a statue like that.
And I'm glad to see that a black man has got the $100 million federal contract to do this.
And as more Confederate statues come down, we need more black statues to go up.
Absolutely.
There you go.
A neighborhood outreach program is planning concerts with the Detroit Symphony featuring the Black Mozart. According to the Detroit Free Press, the Chevalier was the first known black classical composer. He was a wildly popular socialite, violinist, conductor, and the most renowned fencer in France. The orchestra's program will also feature rare works from other popular composers. The Detroit Symphony Orchestra will perform their sets in 4 different locations over 4 days in Detroit.
Houston Astros manager Dusty Baker is the newest member of the 2000 Wins Club. Yes, he is the first black manager in the history of Major League Baseball to hit that milestone. Baker is the manager of the Houston Astros. It's the 12th manager to reach 2,000 career wins. It did that after the Astros defeated the Seattle Mariners. 10 of the 11 managers ahead of Baker of all-time wins list are in the Hall of Fame, so maybe that's a shoo-in for him. Baker is the only manager in Major League Baseball's history to lead 5 different teams to the postseason and to win division titles with 5 different clubs.
Black liberation is still necessary in 2022. So the Shine Bright School, that's an anti-racism training center, is launching a Black Liberation Challenge on Juneteenth. It believes that black people should care about black liberation because, well, it's important to not wait until the next black person is killed before creating action. Monique Melton is an anti-racism educator and activist who started the Shine Bright School to provide a resource for black liberation, and she joins us now with more. Hi, Joy. Thank you for joining us.
Hi, thank you for having me.
We are very happy to have you. I think our soulmates are definitely going to learn a lot from you today. So I'd like to start right away with letting our soulmates know, what is black liberation?
Yeah, that's a great question. You know, Black liberation means something different to everyone, especially because Black folks, we're not a monolith. So to me, Black liberation means that Black folks can be free and full in our humanity to live and to thrive fully as whole human beings in any space that we're in now and forever and always. That's my meaning of Black liberation.
Okay. And so why is your research, the Shine Bright School, why is that research, a resource, so important when we talk about black liberation?
Yeah, you know, I have to first say with the shinebrightschool.com, I have to give credit and great just gratitude to my ancestors who created an incredible foundation and a legacy for me to continue on with the shinebrightschool.com. And it's so important because we provide folks with tangible resources and a community to learn how to commit to Black liberation as a daily process. Folks need to learn that this is not just theoretical, philosophical things, but instead we can do work every single day in our lives. And the shinebrightschool.com gives folks those resources and support to do that.
Monique, a lot has transpired since the Black Lives Matter protests that happened. And so now we're in 2022. Is Black liberation a topic that still needs to be discussed in present day?
Absolutely. You know, I like to call it the pseudo-white awakening of 2020 because all these folks all of a sudden pretend to notice something that's been happening all along. And so now we're seeing a lot more apathetic people than before 2020. And I think that it's incredibly important that we not only continue the conversation, but actually put things into action that's sustainable and felt in the Black community. And so it's important now more than ever, especially as we are seeing such an attack on voting rights and reproductive rights and banning of books, all these things happening, we absolutely have to keep pressing forward.
Absolutely. So how have movements such as the Black Lives Matter movement and the Black Lives Matter protest that we saw in 2020, how was it impacted by Black liberation?
Yeah, well, at the center of the movement is Black liberation. It's about making sure that the challenges and the concerns and the needs and the pain and the suffering and all of the progress that we need for Black folks is at the center of the conversation. Because the creators of the Combahee High Collective, the Combahee River Collective Statement, tell us that once Black women are free, all of us are free. And so when we center Black liberation, we can make sure that those closest to the harm are actually going to have their needs met. So Black Lives Matter movement gave us a really great way to get involved, especially locally, and putting more behind the hashtag, but actually action that can be felt and sustained.
So, you know, a lot of soulmates don't really understand what Black liberation is. And I'd like for you to know, just give us a little bit more details on what can be done to further the conversation of Black liberation when talking to others in conversation.
Yeah, that's a really good question. You know, I think folks need to understand that racism is not a thing of the past. It is happening right here in the present, and we need to understand that first and foremost. And then we need to understand that we can actually create change. We can make phone calls, send emails, take our funds from organizations that support the continued systemic oppression of Black folks. We can actually do things, and it doesn't require everyone. No movement ever has. We can bring folks together and stay consistent and motivated in putting this work into progress. And so folks need to know you can literally do things with your money, for example, like reparation or redistributing resources or funds. You can do things with your time, volunteering your skills, volunteering your services, making connections, making introductions so that we can actually do this work. So it's folks need to know that you can actually be empowered and do this in your everyday life.
You know, that's one thing that I know for me, I struggle with, that we can talk all of that we want and give ideas and suggestions, but it really comes down to getting our feet dirty, our hands dirty rather, and making change happen. And so, you know, a lot of people really need to know specifics and give like a breakdown on where to get started. How can people get involved in their own states and cities that they live in?
Yeah, I love that question. That's why we're doing the Juneteenth, in honor of Juneteenth, Pursue Black Liberation Challenge. It's a 21-day challenge where folks are given prompts, activities to explore every single day. And the focus is in your local community. And we've had students from all over the world do it. They're like, well, can I do this in Australia? Of course you can do it in your community, but you can learn about your community and figure out how can you get plugged in. And that's what the challenge gives folks, a real tangible way. And it's something you can actually do as the whole family. So I really want people to know that you can actually do this every day. And we give folks practical things like research this, learn about this, get involved in this, make this call, get this thing. Like, it's real tangible things.
That's what we need to hear, that it's tangible, it can be done. There are things that you can do, every single person in the world. I love that. So where can we let our soulmates know to go to get more information about you, the Shine Bright School? Where can we find more details?
Yeah, you can go easily, just get right on them to that internet, type it on in, shinebrightschool.com. You can easily find me, Monique Melton, on the gram. I'm on the gram doing all kinds of fun things, motivate, but it's so easy and it's super accessible. Like, I really want folks to know you can do this, and you can get started with the challenge before Juneteenth, but you can do it with us collectively as a community on Juneteenth as well.
Monique, thank you so much for joining us. I think you've definitely inspired some of our soulmates to take action and get a part of the community. We are so grateful to have you. Hope to have you back soon.
Thank you so much.